Well, it finally happened. After 6 long years, Valve actually released a new VR headset. And just looking at the spec sheet and the early hands-on reviews, it looks like it's going to be amazing. But I have questions, and I know you do too. What exactly is the Steam Frame, and what's it capable of? Is it actually any better than what's already on the market? And most importantly, what's it going to cost? When can we get it? And does this change anything? I'll be really transparent with you guys up front. I'm really excited about it, and I've been waiting for this for a long time. But I really need you to stick with me through this video, because despite whatever your early impressions of this headset are, I think that this could be exactly what the VR industry has been desperately needing. So in this video, we're going to break down everything that Valve just revealed, the specs, the features, and most importantly, what this launch means for you and the future of VR. Alrighty guys, welcome back to Fix My Oculus, the channel where we fix, repair, tear down, and talk about all things VR. And today we are talking about the Valve Steam Frame, which is now officially real. I can't believe I'm saying that. Before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe for more VR related content like this. And we also have a new giveaway running right now that is totally free to enter. You can check that out in the link down in the description, or head on over to fixmyoculus.com for more details. Now that I've got all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about the Steam Frame. So what is this thing exactly? The Steam Frame is essentially Valve's all-in-one gaming headset, not just for VR. It's designed to run your entire Steam library, whether that's VR games or traditional PC titles. So theoretically, you can sit on your couch, grab a controller, play Elden Ring or Baldur's Gate 3 in a giant virtual display, and then jump straight into Half-Life Alyx without having to switch devices. Kinda cool. Other people have been trying to do that with mediocre success for a while. It's running SteamOS, which is the same lightweight operating system that powers the Steam Deck, and it's got full standalone tracking. That means no base stations, no external sensors. It's just you, the headset, and the controllers straight out of the box. And because it's running Valve's updated Proton layer with a new system called FEX, it can even run traditional Windows-based VR titles on ARM hardware. They're saying that you can also sideload Android APKs directly, so it's basically capable of running just about anything you want to throw at it. Now with the controllers, Valve has clearly learned from what worked before. The new controllers are fully backwards compatible with the existing Steam VR library, but now they've swapped the traditional analog sticks for the same magnetic Hall effect thumbsticks that we just saw in the new Steam controller refresh. That's a pretty huge deal for somebody like me who repairs a lot of VR controllers. Hopefully it means that these controllers won't be prone to stick drift like every other VR controller on the market. They've also added capacitive sensing across all the main surfaces and grips for full 5-finger tracking, very similar to the Knuckles controllers. And the controllers each now use a single AA battery that should be able to last up to 40 hours on a charge. From the outside, the design kind of looks like a blend between the original Index and the Quest 3. The headset itself actually only weighs in at 440 grams, which makes it lighter than the Quest 3, and it's built around a 21.6 watt-hour battery, which should get you about 2 to 3 hours gameplay. It's slightly bigger than the Quest 3 battery, but I think that we can safely assume that the Steam Frame will probably require a lot more juice, so it's kind of a wash. The battery also sits at the back of the strap for better balance, and the core computing module up front can actually detach from the strap entirely. Valve clearly saw other headsets like the Quest Pro and the Samsung Galaxy XR and went, that might be a problem. Because by separating the system into separate components, you get more comfort and more flexibility. And it leaves some room in the design for things like upgraded straps and batteries, which are really popular with a lot of VR users. As far as optics go, Valve's got their own new pancake lenses with dual 2160 by 2160 displays per eye running at 144 Hertz. And it's got a field of view of about 110 degrees. They did opt for the LCDs and not the OLEDs. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking LCDs, deal breaker. But Valve does say that this was a deliberate choice because the OLED panels just lose too much brightness through the pancake lenses. As far as displays go, it's right in line with what we've seen from different companies over recent years. It's sharper and wider than the Quest 3 and 3S, but it's roughly on par with the Crystal Light. And it's just below some of those enthusiast level headsets like the Pimax Crystal Super or the Megan EX 8K. Now, I'm not one of the reviewers that did get one early, but according to those who did, it's got some of the cleanest optics they've ever seen, with almost no internal reflections compared to other pancake-based headsets. And it even has eye tracking, which is not necessarily new tech in 2025, but that's kind of a big deal for PCVR. With eye-tracked foveated rendering, Valve can push more detail to where you're actually looking while saving GPU power on the edges. They're also using that data for what Valve is calling foveated streaming, where the highest bitrate image data is focused right where you're looking during wireless PCVR streaming. And it's one of those small details that just takes it to the next level, I think. The headset itself is running on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, which is the same chip that you're going to find in a lot of top-tier flagship phones right now. Most of the new standalone headsets that we've seen in 2025, like the Galaxy XR or the Play for Dream, are running Qualcomm's XR2 Plus Generation 2 chip, which is built specifically for VR. But the XR2 Plus is still a step behind the raw horsepower of the 8 Gen 3. That theoretically gives Valve more headroom for higher refresh rates, sharper visuals, and overall more demanding games. Now, that processor is paired with 16 gigabytes of RAM, and you can get it with either 256 gigs or 1 terabyte of storage. And one of my chef's kiss personal favorite features on this headset is that it actually has an SD card slot so that you can increase the storage capacity of the device. The front cameras are black and white pass-through, so no mixed reality, augmented reality stuff here. But that doesn't mean that it's limited in capability. Valve has also added an expansion port under the front gasket that supports additional accessories like external cameras or even full-color pass-through modules. So if you want to mod or add to or upgrade the headset later on, you can do that. Now, how does it actually stack up compared to what's actually already on the market? Compared to the Quest 3 and 3S, you're getting a higher refresh rate, better balance, and an entirely open ecosystem. Compared to something like the Play for Dream or Samsung's Galaxy XR, you're trading some of the fancy AR color pass-through for pure gaming performance and PCVR flexibility. What really seems to set the frame apart for me is that Valve isn't trying to make VR do everything. They're not chasing productivity apps or AR overlays or AI assistants. They're just making it fun again, which is on brand for Valve. But honestly, it's just so refreshing. VR for fun? For gaming? What? So now, the hard questions. What is it actually going to cost? And when can you actually get one? As of right now, Valve has not given us an official price tag, but reports from Upload VR and Road to VR suggest that it'll land somewhere around the $1,000 mark, slightly less than a full index kit used to be. And while a lot of people who bought a Quest on sale might wince at that, it does make sense. They're aiming at the same crowd that bought the Index. Serious PC gamers who want top-tier visuals and don't mind paying for it. But now without the need for a full base station setup, extra cables, or additional software like you would need to run the Play for Dream or the Pimax. Valve does say that pre-orders will open early next year with an official launch window set for early 2026. It's a little too late for Christmas, but just in time to prevent you from caving on that other headset that you were planning on getting because you lost hope that this was ever actually going to come out. So what does this mean for you, and what does it mean for VR? Over the last few years, I feel like VR has kind of lost its direction. Everyone's been chasing the next big buzzword to either compete with Meta or impress investors. Mixed reality, AI, smart glasses, AR glasses, whatever the trend was that month. Looking at you, Samsung. And meanwhile, the actual gaming side of VR hasn't had a true hero product in a long time. I think the Steam frame kind of changes that. Valve's only real focus is gaming, maintaining their platform and making it easier for people to access it. The other products that they announced today, like the new Steam Machine and the updated Steam Controller, all point to the same goal, giving players better ways to experience their Steam library. If this headset performs in a way that Valve sounds like it's promising it will, it could reignite that sense of wonder that got a lot of people excited about VR in the first place. We might finally see big AAA studios taking another swing at full-scale VR titles. Games that actually have the hardware and the audience to make them worth building. And because it's running SteamOS, the potential here is massive. This isn't a locked down ecosystem like Meta's. You can install, mod, tweak, and experiment and basically do whatever you want with it. For developers, that means less red tape. For gamers, it means freedom. And for the industry as a whole, it means that one of the biggest names in gaming just doubled down on VR. And I tend to think that that's good for all of us. But what do you guys think? Is the Steam frame the game changer we've all been waiting for, or are you holding out to see how much Steam's gonna charge you for it before you get your hopes up? Drop your thoughts down in the comments below. I really wanna know what you guys think. And if this video helped you out, consider hitting the like button. If you're not subscribed already, what are you doing? Subscribe. We've got more teardowns, repairs, and VR-related content coming your way every single week. Also, that giveaway I mentioned earlier is still live. You can find all the details in the description or on fixmyoculus.com. It's totally free to enter, and I think that it's one of our coolest giveaways yet. But anyway, that's really all I got for you guys today, so we will see you on the next one.